In this week's Parsha Toldot, a famine once again hits Canaan. Yitzchak evidently thought to do as his father Avram had done and go down to Egypt to escape the famine. God, however, appeared to him and stopped him and told him that he must not leave the land. So instead of going down to Egypt, Yitzchak settled in Gerar, also as his father had done. In Gerar, he again did as his father had done, implying that his wife Rivka was his sister. This time, however, before anything happened, Avimelech, the ruler of Gerar, had spied on them and saw that in private Yitzchak related to Rivka more as his wife than as his sister. After confronting him about it and Yitzchak admitting to this relationship, Avimelech publicly declared that Yitzchak, his wife Rivka, and all the family were under his personal protection. Yitzchak then fully settled into Gerar, planting crops on the land. The Torah testified that Yitzchak reaped 100 times that which he had planted, and that God blessed Yitzchak. What lesson is the Torah trying to teach us by testifying about this windfall? Just before Yitzchak settled in Gerar, God had appeared to Yitzchak and promised that he would be with Yitzchak and bless him. Rav Weisel says that by the Torah testifying to Yitzchak's success and blessing, it showed God was fulfilling the promise that he had made to Yitzchak that he will be with him. Radak notes that God's blessing was not just the yield of crops, but in everything that Yitzchak did. The Midrash Rabbah says that the Torah was trying to show us not just that God blessed Yitzchak, but also the magnitude of God's blessing to Yitzchak. During a year of famine, the crops yielded 100 times that which was expected. If the year would have been a regular year, Yitzchak would have been blessed and reaped an even greater amount for the same effort. The Midrash Chayfetz cryptically says that when Yitzchak saw that there was a famine, he immediately planted. This leads to another question. Why would Yitzchak plant crops if he saw that there was a famine that could endanger the crops he had planted? Yitzchak's immediate response, according to this Midrash, teaches us many important lessons. First of all, it shows emunah, faith in God. God had just blessed Yitzchak, telling him that he will be with him. By planting, despite there being a famine, the Torah wanted to teach us that when God gives a blessing, even a famine will not prevent God's blessing coming to fruition. Second, Yitzchak wanted to show that while a famine might be an obstacle, but it was also an opportunity. Nothing lasts forever. If one starts to actively plan for a recovery during the hard times, when the fortunes do get better, one will be in a much better position to capitalize on the recovery. Third, a famine might be a setback, but it will inspire a person to strive harder and higher for the next time. Fourth, as Rabbi Sachs always taught, we are an eternally optimistic people. Tomorrow will always be a better day. Yitzchak planted in dire conditions, a famine where the earth yields very little produce, but it ended on a happy note, with a huge harvest. And lastly, a blessing isn't meant to be passively received. In order to be able to receive the blessing, we need to do our part as well. The more we prepare and do, the more we will receive. Of all of our forefathers, we tend to underappreciate Yitzchak. Of the three, we know the least about him. But if we carefully examine and analyze him and his actions, we can discover that there's a world that he can teach us. Shabbat Shalom.